Hello Year 3, welcome back to our maths videos. Today our learning objective is, can I use bar models and number lines to order unit fractions and fractions with the same denominator in ascending and descending order? Okay, first let's look at what we already know about fractions. Here are two shapes shown on the screen. Can you pause the video and write down two fractions that represent these two images? Okay, so we can see that the first image is a circle that's been divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal parts, and one part is shaded. So what fraction does that show? 1/6. In this shape, we've got the same shape, but it's been divided into 1, 2, 3, 4 parts instead of 6. And one part is shaded as well. So this is 1/4. Okay, what do you notice about these two fractions? Which one is larger and which one is smaller? Why? Pause the video, have a think, talk to your partner, or if you've got somebody available around you could talk to them, or just think to yourself in your head. Okay, so if you notice, these are both unit fractions. They, however, do not have the same denominator. Their denominators are different. Which fraction is larger? Well, if we look at the images, we can see that 1/4 is larger, even though 4 is a smaller number than 6. The reason why 1/4 is larger is because if we have two fractions with the same numerator, the greater the denominator, the smaller each part. Because if we have a cake, for example, that's been divided into 6 equal parts, and a cake that's been divided into 4 equal parts, the one that's been divided into 4 equal parts has bigger slices. Okay, here I would like you to do the same. So pause the video and write two fractions to represent these images, and then see what you notice between the fractions. Look at the numerators, look at the denominators. Which fraction is larger and why? Play the video when you're ready. Okay, so here we can see that we've got two shapes. Let's look at this one. How many equal parts has it been divided into? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And one part is shaded. So what fraction does that show? 1/6. And then this other shape, let's see how many parts it's been divided into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3 parts are shaded this time instead of one part. So it's still divided into the same number of equal parts, which is 6. But this time it's no longer a unit fraction. They have the same denominators, but this was a unit fraction, and this has 1, 2, 3 parts that are shaded. So this is a non-unit fraction. What do you notice between the two fractions? Did you notice that the denominators were the same? So now that both our shapes are divided into the same number of equal parts, which fraction is larger? Well, we can see that 3/6 is larger than 1/6 because 3 parts out of the 6 are being considered. Okay, so let's go back for a second. A rule that we can come up with is that if the denominators of two fractions are the same, the larger the numerator, the larger the fraction. If the numerators of a fraction are the same, the larger the denominator, the smaller the fraction. Okay, Jamila takes 3 strips of paper. She splits one into thirds, one into half, and one into eighths. She colors one section of each of her strips. In what order should she put her strips from smallest to greatest value fraction? Pause the video and have a think. Play the video when you're ready. Okay, so as we can see, we've got 3 strips of paper that are the exact same size, but they've been divided into a different number of equal parts. We can immediately see that 1/8 is much smaller than the others because the strip has been divided into many more parts, so each part is smaller. So if we were going to write these in order from smallest to greatest, our smallest would be 1/8. The next smallest one would be 1/3 or 1/2. Well, we can see that 1/3 is smaller. So the next one would be 1/3. We have to remember to put the correct sign in between these two fractions to show which one is the smallest or largest one. So 1/8 is smaller, as we can see, than 1/3. So in which direction would my sign need to go in? It would go this way. So first 1/8, then 1/3, and lastly 1/2. And then if we're comparing 1/3 and 1/2, we can see that 1/3 is smaller. So 1/8 is smaller than 1/3, which is smaller than 1/2. We have put our fractions in order from smallest to greatest. Okay, this is your first activity. For this activity, you will need 5 strips of paper. It is very important that all your strips of paper are the exact same size. Fold one into half, one into thirds, one into quarters, one into sixths, and one into eighths. Color one part of each of your strips and label the fraction. Put your fraction in order from smallest to greatest. Once you have done that, play the video again and I will show you how I have done it as well. Okay, hopefully you should have 5 strips of paper that are the same size. You would have folded one into eighths, one into sixths, one into quarters, one into thirds, and one in you've folded one in halves. Then you would have labeled each fraction. You would have colored one part and labeled the fraction. Hopefully you would have seen that 1/8 is the smallest, then 1/6, then 1/4, then 1/3, and then 1/2. If several fractions all have the same, what do they all have that's the same? The numerators are the same. So if several fractions all have the same numerator, the fraction with the largest denominator is the smallest fraction. We can order them according to their denominator. So you know the fraction that has the largest denominator is going to be the smallest only if the numerators have all the same value. Okay, can you quickly have a think? Where would these fractions go on the number line? Look at whether the numerators are the same or whether the denominators are the same. Okay, so we can see that all of our all of our denominators are the same. So what does that mean? That means that all of these fractions represent something that's been divided into 6 equal parts. So the larger the numerator, the larger the fraction. So what would we start with? 0, 1/6. What would go next? 2/6, 3/6. What would go after 3/6? Would 5/6 go there? 4/6 would go there, but we don't have it, so we can leave it blank. We would know that 4/6 goes there. So 5/6 goes here and 1 whole. Okay, these are your independent activities. Have a go at completing them on your piece of paper. Please number the activity that you're completing. So if you're completing activity number 2, please number it 2. Make sure you take pictures to upload your work on Tapestry. Make sure you keep practicing your times table, rock stars, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Well done, Year 3. Bye.